It's another edition of Vinyl Conversations. Hello, world. Welcome to Vinyl Conversations group. It's Sunday. What day is it? October. Oh yeah. Oh, are you dropping the phone over there?
Today I gotta use my phone, so I gotta do something different. I don't know what's happening right now.
All right, it's October 18th. You tuned into another edition of Vinyl Conversations. You know, this is the home to where we talk about the specific lyrics to songs, but we also do stuff that relates to the music as well. So today is a special show. We're just gonna go ahead and get into it. We don't have to do any disclaimers because we don't have any music, but just in case this Facebook wants to get funny and mute like they usually do, if there's any kind of music, we do not own the rights to anything you hear playing in the background. So Facebook don't need us.
We do not own the rights to this. Whatever music may happen to play, this is for educational, entertainment purposes only. That's it.
That part. So, without further ado, look, today we have creative director and well-acknowledged leader in cultivating and developing an urban streetwear clothing line that has made his mark on the hip-hop culture. Please welcome Willie Esco to the show, guys. Hey.
Hello. Hello, everybody. How you doing? I don't.
Hi, how are you?
So I mean, I do fashion. I don't know what kind of lyrics you're gonna throw at me. So I do know music, but not like not quiz.
What's your
it's all.
That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna play.
What, my favorite song?
Yeah.
Oh, there's different genres now. So what are we talking about? Like, you know, I'm from New Jersey, so I'm a Jersey head. So there is very strong soul house music roots here, right? But I'm also b-boy, so before that there was a lot of b-boy stuff happening.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Okay.
A
lot of hip hop.
So pretty much
hip hop music, like breakdancing music that would do like just break beats and stuff that are like classic. Jimmy Castor Bunch, you know, that type of stuff. Very soulful stuff.
So those places that play that type of music to where you walking down the street and it's just like one guy standing there, but it looks like an abandoned building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One guy, velvet rope, you know. That's our. We had a dual personality. Our New York tri-state was like, it was hip hop. There was hip hop nights, and then there was house nights for about a decade of nightlife, you know, before the sort of house thing died away. So, but in New Jersey, it was very strong.
Right, and it all, you know, and it's all part of the culture.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
yeah, it's part of it.
So with that being said, tell everybody like the backstory, like how you actually got started with fashion, because fashion and clothing and music is all combined. So give us a little bit about the backstory.
Well, my backstory is really I was an artist, really. I just enjoyed, you know, drawing, getting in trouble in school by drawing, and then that led to a curiosity that sort of led me to art in general. And when it was time to sort of decide where my career is going, my life is going, hip hop music had just started. So it really was mid 80s, early 80s to 90s. So that era was, it was a wide variety of types of music, but my art interest leaned towards one of the pillars of hip hop, which is graffiti. So I sort of was able to enjoy the lifestyle, the music, And then I got into breakdancing. So breakdancing and graffiti were part of my involvement in hip hop culture that allowed me to nurture uh, fashion. So fashion was there, but it was never acknowledged as a pillar of hip hop. It was just like a byproduct of going out and trying to, look fly. But it was never really acknowledged. And part of the reason why is because it was more of and it's a bad thing. It was just looked at as a feminine thing. Like to get into fashion was more a women's thing. Nowadays it's not, but back then it was like, if I'm me from Brick City in New York, New Jersey area, going into fashion was not they looked at you.
It wasn't a manly thing.
Right, it wasn't.
Right.
And it was pioneering space to be in, but you had to deal with certain perceptions from your friends, immediate friends actually. So my background in high school was St. Benedict's Prep, which was right next to Arts High, and Arts High was cultivating celebrities like, more recently it was Michael B. Jordan and Tasha Campbell. All those people were in the space right next to my school. My school is private, all boys, best known for soccer and basketball. Present day is J.R. Smith, Thompson, who dates one of the Kardashians. So we built athletes for NBA and soccer. But my day was I was not an athlete. I was just a b-boy hanging out, cutting class, going next door to the high school or going to the city, which sort of built my my interest in fashion, and it was a very tricky thing to maneuver into, but I let it go where it's supposed to go. So I went to high school, and then I went to 2 years of Rutgers University right down the block in Newark while I figured out what to do with my life. And in doing so, I was, and this is before the internet, so I had to figure out a way to get into FIT. I decided I'm going to stop going to Arts High. And this is 80, 88. So hip hop fashion wasn't there yet. And to say you want to be a fashion designer, I just knew that it was easy for me. So whatever I did in art and fashion, I get a great grade, and I was very smooth with the teachers. And I'd be on honor roll like that way. So I'm like, that's maybe what I should be doing if I'm good at that. And it led me to decide to go to FIT. And hard to get in there at the time because, big time designers were going there, and they made it very hard for someone like myself, inner city youth, to go into FIT. It was not an easy thing for a straight Latino to want to go into that space. So it's a kind of a weird thing. Like it's just like you go in there and you're like, wait, I'm not gay, but I want to know about all of this type of dynamic that's going on here. Mm-hmm. And it was tricky, but I just kept pushing on. So 88 to 90 was FIT years. That's what sort of allowed me to say, all right, I want to do this for a living. From 88 to about mid 90s, that's when I sort of worked in the industry, paid my dues, and fashion then caught up to what I was doing. Like my space, urban fashion, was exploding. And I was like, wow, this is great timing. Like I know what I'm doing. I know the culture. I know what I'm doing. I might be able to make some money at this. But I had to wait for the right climate.
Right. That sounds like
It's very risky. But I was going, when you're that young, you do some soul searching and you say, what do I want to wake up every morning having to make money on, but it doesn't feel like you're
at work,
stressed out and at work. Like, what is that? It's not going. I was working at a bank. I didn't like that. Although I like dressing to go to the bank, but the bank hours were crazy. And I worked at a restaurant, didn't like that. I worked at Macy's for a second. I liked that a lot, but I don't want to be at the end of the cycle of fashion, like selling it. I want to be the beginning. So I analyzed this, being able to sort of take time for yourself and say, what do you want to do? And in 10 years, will I wake up happy doing it? So that ended up being fat. I cheated and got into FIT through fashion illustration program, which is easier. And I got in that way and then transferred over to the design. So I went through like a back door, like, which it was not. If I was going straight into for design, they denied me. So I was like, this wild. I know I'm good, but I didn't want to. I also didn't want to actually physically learn how to sew. I didn't care for it. Like, I saw that designers had sample hands and stuff. I just want to tell them what to do. But I'll learn it. I learned the technical part of it. It's something you have to learn, but
Didn't want to learn how to sew. A designer, y'all heard it.
Yeah. I was just up in here. Yeah.
I just want to tell you what it looks like, and then you do it.
Yeah. A lot of them are like that today. It's like they don't know. A lot of very well-known folks don't know how to draw. They know how to sew. They didn't know how to draw. My knack was I knew how to draw. I knew how to identify fabrics and understand construction. But these folks knew how to sew, but they couldn't draw a sketch to save their lives. Really good designers too.
Information we would never have known. I assume everybody knows how to draw. Everybody knows how to sew. Like that's
designers are horrible sketchers. So for me to be able to sketch something and then I know how to sew it together and then present it and then maybe do a graphics for a t-shirt. That was all gave me an edge in the marketplace. So.
Oh wow. So what actually came first? Was it the line, the actual Willie Esco line, or did you have to do some other stuff after the school? So how did that come about?
Yeah, after it was getting into the school was the first huge accomplishment that I was very happy in. Why? Because they put so many barriers to get in. And this is all before the internet. So whoever's listening, this is all you have to. I'm a hustler type of dude, so I was like, how am I going to get into FIT without having to deal with these guardians of the galaxy, gatekeepers at FIT that were, you can tell they were visually judging you, like, oh, you don't belong here, like that type of thing. So I analyzed what they were doing. It was friends of friends. Like I knew people that were going in and getting in and they're not as good as me sketch-wise, but I was like, you know what I got to do? I took the admissions pamphlet. I studied it. I saw who was on the admissions list. I told the story a couple times, but I saw who was on the admissions list. And then I tracked everybody on that list and found out that one of the teachers that was in art fashion illustration committee to accept people was teaching at Art High at night. So I was going to Rutgers already. I had left high school. I became her good friend. So I enrolled in the class at night. And it was nothing I didn't know, but I took the class just to befriend her. And I became her good friend. And she got me into the school. Then when you get into the school, you find out, man, I'm as good as everybody in here. So I had already did 2 years of Rutgers University. So my math, my science, all my liberals were done. All I had to do was focus on art. That's it. Everybody else was doing art, math, English. So their art suffered because they had all these other curriculum they had to do. I was just on art. So that's 80s. And then once I was only there 2 years. Once I went to school at night for fashion design, but I had a job, started working right away. But I worked, that's 88, 80, 90, 91. So it took about 6 years to work in the industry and really focus on, hey, what am I going to try and do? But I always told myself, I never make it to the point where I have a label in a garment that's being sold in the store, I'm happy with my accomplishments. So I was working on 7th Avenue, quite happy, but I'm a spiritual person. So I was connected with understanding when you meet people, right? You you sort of feel their vibe or their spirit. Some people have negative vibes, you have no desire. But
Absolutely.
my boss I was working for. They hired me. They gave me a nice salary, and then he says, "I want you to meet a good friend of mine." And at the time, I was a stylist, so I was styling at night for covers like Fat Joe with a well-known photographer who did like Wu-Tang covers. He was in hip hop, so I was meeting a lot of rappers through my photographer friend, and that was cool. Made a little bit of money, not a lot. My job was good, but my boss says, "Hey, you want to meet a friend of mine? He has 6 stores in Chicago, and he has the licensing rights for Pele Pele underwear." I said, "Okay, cool. What's that mean?" I don't know what that meant at all. Like, to license a name gives you the right to make money off the name in a specific category that the designer not necessarily does have time to spend his time on. So if he's focused on men's jeans and he wants to license off socks, and they will give him X amount of money up front and let that company run and make them money, then it's a way to make money off your name. So I learned what licensing was, because I have the licensing rights for Pele Pele underwear, and at the time, underwear was peaking. You got Marky Mark with Calvin Klein. Calvin Klein was doing Tommy Hilfiger. It was all underwear, right? And I did a package for him. I said, no problem. I did it, and I did it for free. He made about $2 million off of that when he went to Magic, the trade show Magic. And I was like, well, what's Magic? Right? So he came back with orders worth $2 million, well covered his upfront, right? And he was like, I don't want to just make money for this guy. Why don't you do your own line, right? So that's 96. So I'm from 88 to 96. That's about 7-8 years of putting in regular work, not looking for. I'm not. I know that Cross Colors is happening, Carl Kanai is happening at the time, and I said if I ever get the opportunity, I just have to make my spirit aware of it. So I wasn't deliberately looking for investment. You meet someone, you say, this guy, I feel like I know you. You must be able to do something for me. And then he tells me what he wants me to do. So when he asked me to do it, he made money off of me. And he asked, how much do you want? I said, nothing. I don't want nothing from you. That was before he did his offer to me, because that's what my spirit said to do. So I said, no, I don't want anything from you. And that led to do your own line. Now, when someone tells you that, in having 6 stores in Chicago, a well-known name in the industry, I had to go to the bathroom and I was, hyperventilating. I was like, no, I know it's weird because it's the beginning of hip hop fashion. So it's like, I know the culture so well. I'm like, I studied him. No internet yet, guys. There's no internet happening yet. So he's got 6 stores and he has a lot of weight. You start talking to other people in the industry and say, yeah, that's the guy, right? So that tells you, not that you're about to make a lot of money. That tells you that your spirit is correct. You're calibrated to meet. When you meet someone, you meditate or you pray. If a situation, if you're trying to do business with them, you see what's the right thing to do. But I was calibrated enough to sort of say, this is a good person to work with, and it yielded results. He said, do your own line. I did it for about a year with him. And what I thought was successful was not successful enough for those 2 guys, which was my boss and him. So from that point, they basically laid me off as I got my multi-million-dollar deal with Fubu, but I kept them in the dark about it. So I built it up to the point where, like, I went to my first trade show. You went to the trade show, right, Latifah? So
yeah.
You know what it's like. I never been to those trade shows, but you got to go there acting like you've been there before. So I had to pretend. Now I don't know what year you met me, so I'm a vet by the time you meet me. But my first one, I knew nothing. and I had to pretend like I knew it, you know. So I would see Damon John there, I'd see Carl Kanai there, I'd see Carl Jones, the people from Mecca, all this new business, and I had to pretend like I knew what I was doing. And I came back with $60,000 worth of business, but that was nothing to my partners. So they were somewhat deflated, and I had to decide, like, all right, do I bail on this project and keep my job where I'm at, or do I just ride out hard and hope that there's going to be another lily pad to jump off? So you gotta. I have a 2-year-old at the time, and I had to make a decision. Do I ride hard with this idea called Willie Escobar? My current partners, don't believe in it too much now that they put it in the marketplace, and I only made $60,000. Now, $60,000 is a lot of money for me, but it wasn't for them. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I had to put that in perspective. By the end of '96, it was looking bleak, and I was at my last trade show in New York, understanding, let me follow this through. I made a decision to ride out hard. I knew my current boss was going to fire me at the end of the year. So it's October, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. And you're like, all right, well, I gave it a shot. I'm going to have to go on unemployment. I'm already planning for '97. What I'm going to do for the top of the year. I'm not going to be working, be unemployed. I go to the trade show again. I got to go through the motions and feel like I'm doing. My current sales rep was not doing anything for me because my money was not making her enough commissions. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit with you, and I'm going to force you to introduce me to every person that comes by the table. And the exercise looked fruitless, looked like it was just, I'm wasting my time on a Sunday. I had to be at work Monday. And then I just did it. I went there, and lo and behold, we're at the trade show. I'm on my last legs. I'm on fumes, right? October '96. And two guys from FUBU come, Damon's partners. Hey, we want to talk to this young lady about buying her brand. I'm like, she just went to the bathroom, she'll come back. And he's like, well, what are you doing here? Like, I'm like, this is my line over here. I showed him my line. So, a long story short, they ended up liking me so much, they didn't do business with the sales rep that was there. Right. So she did me dirty for a few months to take my showroom money. And then I sat in while she went to the bathroom, and they were going to do business with her. But then they said, we like you. We want to do a deal with you. I'm like, again, it happened again. I was like, wait a minute. They're like, yeah, you know who we are. I'm like, yeah, you're FUBU. And they're like, show me the line. I'm like, nah, I can't show you the line. So I played a little hard to get with them. But ultimately, that 15 minutes, that gap, they came in and they gave me the card. And then we started working a deal out. From October to December was planning my move from where I was at to my new business partners. And now you got to remember, that's Damon John, 1997, 98. They were exploding. And they just saw me as a Latin version of them, right? So they want to corner the market. They want to get the Latin culture too. So I understood where they were going. But the timing again was, if I did not go there that day to go through the exercise, because I didn't want to give up on myself, I would not have the deal. Right, so
she would not have went to the bathroom.
Yeah, right. She came back as soon as they left. She was like, "What just happened?" I was like, "Nothing."
Like nothing.
Yeah, it's funny because it was like Don King. You know how Don King would go in the ring with one fighter, leave with the winner fighter, right? So it was like that, and it was interesting because the next 3 months while I was at my old gig. And yes, I took their severance package. So I'm playing broke, but I had to follow it through. So January 2nd or something, like the reports, like people found out in the industry, but my partners didn't find out. So we did lead ups to me signing with them, and I had to keep it on the hush. So we left, and that's 97, 98, 97. And I was off to the races from there. 97 is where everything changed overnight, because now I have backing by Samsung, and the message gets across faster. And then the ironic thing is, this guy my old partner has 6 stores, right, in Chicago. FUBU was so strong. It's a lifeline. Like, it's what Nike is to stores today, right? Like, you need your Nike shoe account to be able to drive traffic to your store. You sell them a pair of Nikes, you might be able to sell them another outfit to make money, right? But FUBU was that back then. FUBU was, if you don't got FUBU in your store, you ain't driving traffic. So they would say, we have a new brand called Willie Esco. Nobody gets FUBU unless they buy Esco. Okay, I was like, cool. That is called layering the sale, right? So I learned. I was like, that's gangster. Great, do it. My old partner, who has 6 stores, relied on FUBU. So now he has to sit down and buy his own line. He sat down and he's like, wait a minute, this is my line. I was like, nah, no more. You guys, we parted ways. Remember? It's like, I gotta buy my own stuff. I'm like, yeah, if you want FUBU, sorry. Yeah. So we ended up suing each other, but you learn the business, and then you move on. Try not to hold too many grudges. But yeah, that was the beginning. That was 97.
Damn. I'm still tripping off of that. Like, you gotta buy your own shit. Like,
yeah, you gotta buy your own brand. Like, they were showing him the line. He's like, I know, this is I helped make it. And they're like, all right, okay, well. And people don't know. People are just in there like, I don't know what you're talking to me about. Just write the order, dude. So yeah. So he wrote the order. It was really, the maneuvering was exciting for me. Like, maneuvering, like, you maneuver in a business you don't know, and you're maneuvering to save your life, essentially, like to move on to the next stage in your career. And that's where 97, 98. So those years, 90, 90, 98, 97 through 2004 was, my era of making clothes, being the face, being in front of it.
Man, I bet there've been some great years.
Yeah, right.
So when did the time come into with the artist, as far as merging music and the fashion together? Because I mean, you got Machiavelli, Tupac line, you got Coogee, Biggie. So how did that start?
Well, it was naturally happening, right? So, the music video became a vehicle to market and advertise.
Right.
So I learned from styling just before I got my deal that you can change someone's trajectory by putting a different type of brand on them. So obviously Biggie was big at the time. Nas was big, and they were wearing certain things, right? And you would, as a stylist, you would say, all right. So in particular, Fat Joe was only wearing army jackets, and I was like, why don't you just let me go get you some Coogies from Rochester Big and Tall out here in New York, and change your image from a gangster to like a Don. So Jealous One's Envy, his first album, where he's sort of dressed up, like it's would never wear hard sole shoes, had a Coogee, pit bulls. We sort of changed his image. And so that was happening. We noticed that was happening in hip hop a lot, where trying aspirational brands being put into the messaging of the album. So if you have on, and it was a beautiful time because, yes, Louis Vuitton was there. All those brands were still there, but they were so far out of aspiration for these artists. Like, they were not even thinking about Gucci at the time, where the 80s rappers were thinking about it with Dapper Dan. They sort of lost touch. So 90s, mid 90s to 2000, they were really supporting the Black designer, like Mecca, Fat Form. They were really, like, I really appreciated that because it allowed me to make money, but make a name for myself. And they understood the power of the dollar. So you would see Nike was losing money, Timberland was losing money, MLB did a license deal with me just to tap into my culture. So we really had a powerful force because we were controlling the messaging, right? People did not know how to place product in videos. You place the product in the videos to drive sales in a subliminal manner, right? Nowadays it's very deliberate, but back then, so once you set the stage, it's very much like cars, cars from back in the day. I used to want to drive a 98 two-door, Regal, and then I wanted a BMW two-door coupe. Then I wanted the Porsche. The 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 mind always wants the next level up, and I think with the timeline we're on, though at those stages we were at the level of wanting our own, and then towards the tail end of urban fashion, they just abandoned, like the culture abandoned us as a group, and they wanted to go after these white brands, like Italian, European brands, like because they thought because of the price, price was higher. So we hit a glass ceiling during that period, but we figured out early on how to, and we knew what we were doing. Stylists were working with designers, we're working with the artists, and we were controlling and driving people towards buying product. Now there was no internet yet, really, so cool. But now we've come full circle. Now it's that. But you would tell people, put it in a vehicle where you can drive people to go see the product. And where so you hit singularity, where you hit the moment where everything in one was crystallized, where you place it in a video, nobody knows what you've placed in the video, but the audience knows. That was what Damon did with LL in the Gap commercial. So that was like a moment in time for our inner circle. Gap don't know what FUBU says on the hat. It just knows that it matches whatever is in the Gap ad. They wanted LL in the commercial. LL asked them, "Can I wear this hat?" Right? And he raps about FUBU in the Gap commercial, and Gap did not know it. It was Ebonics. So that is like, that's compressed, everything compressed into one moment where you can see white America became hip to, like, whoa. Now, the agency that did that, do you fire them? Do you, like, they weren't aware
Right.
of what he was doing. So that is an example of where the gates opened up. So white America became aware of hip hop music. Gap was acknowledging LL. LL was secretly promoting FUBU within those marketing dollars, and it was a coup d'état in a way that you got to know the music to know what he's saying, So that was sort of the big monumental shift. Prior to, there was a bunch of lead ups, people wearing product, whether it's Tim's in the East Coast, West Coast is Vans. These images were put on the airwaves, and then those brands celebrated with the artist. But at that time, the artists really did like wearing black-owned product. You give them a Walker Wear jersey, like April's good friend. You put an April Walker item in there, and they wear it. Mike Tyson would wear it. Everybody, Biggie would wear it, because Tupac would wear it. So that was the beginning. And towards the end, when it sort of 02, 03, 04, after 9/11, the new generation was coming in. So young man sport. I came in as a young man, made my money, understanding it's going to shift. So my thinking had to shift. My thinking went from using the music to drive sales. Now I'm perceived as aligned with Nas. So if you like Jay, you don't like me, you don't like my apparel, right? That's the way it boils down to. So I was like, wow, it's a gift and a curse. And that's what happened. So you became very tribal towards the end of that first wave of urban hip hop fashion. It became, who do you represent? No, Fat Farms Russell, Def Jam. Even Def Jam artists didn't want to wear the product because it was being rammed down their throat. You have Rough Riders, DMX. You have My Brand with Nas. You have Fubu was with LL, and they were the biggest at the time, but LL was going downhill. So you had these alliances built, and it started fading away as the next generation of artists come in. And what I found, I'm looking for my next lily pad, right? So it's like I'm tired of arguing with Nas. I'm tired of asking him to wear products. You know, and they're starting to now say, I want to wear Gucci, I want to wear Louis, I want to do. They don't. They started. They're too getting tired, and this younger audience is coming in saying, I don't want whatever that was you guys were doing. We don't want none of that. So you had new brands come in. Denim became very popular, expensive denim, and then I just decided to like exit stage left, sort of phase out my business, but either do the next thing, which is the next artist. So I was working with 50 at the time, with G-Unit clothing, and then I had a choice: 50 or acquire the rights for Tupac Shakur imagery, global rights, right? And I was outbid for the 50 stuff. I was somebody put on $2 million on the table, and I just couldn't. I didn't want to match the offer. So I decided to go with Tupac. And in doing that, again, there was another choice to make where I was like, all right, my son is about 6 years old now, and I'm 7, and I want to spend time at home. Licensing came back. The licensing aspect came back. I was like, I started studying Tupac and how revolutionary he was, his history, rich history, and the apparel was not up to par with his image. So I felt like I did a higher price ticket. And then when I started doing ads for Tupac called Machiavelli, I called it Machiavelli because that was his largest selling album. It was something that wasn't thought of. So like, here's this artist, right, that sold 11 million copies. They did not think of using that album cover or the album name as an apparel brand. So that was a new way of thinking for me. I was like, let's take the album, let's make it an apparel brand. You're going to have that brand recognition automatically, and you'll guarantee X amount of sales. But what I didn't foresee was how powerful Tupac was. Like what I would pay for an artist to be in my ads, like $40,000-$50,000. All my artists did. Very well-known artists, from Ludacris, 2 Chainz, everybody did it for free. So the ad campaigns for Tupac were free. Why? Because they love Tupac. They love Tupac, and I was like, wow. I looked at it from a creative standpoint. Like, this guy deserves to be in the space of fashion long after he's gone. Let's do something right by him. And we created a foundation and everything for him. But when I started talking to artists, being my ad campaign, they would say, yeah, sure. And they do it for free.
Wow.
For free. Like, my ad campaigns for a couple of years were just free. So I was saving that money, and that money was going into the foundation.
Nice.
So I didn't have to deal with Nas fighting with Jay and them, a whole bunch of feuds in fashion, right? So, and then I have my own partners, getting at me. I just stepped back and I just said, let me work with the Tupac family. That went from 0 to about 30 million in a year and a half.
Wow.
And it was overnight. Like, it was like, wow, the fan base is incredible. So I just found the lane to sort of, I want to mess with iconic things, So that was Machiavelli. I had my own brand. Then I went on to Coogee, which was, I found out that, that's just a timeless brand. Like, the brand will always be in the hearts and minds of hip hop culture. It will never get corny, ever. And that's hard to say. I've seen everything. my own brands. Like, all right, my time is come and gone. This brand is every era is there. It's there every era, every art. Why? Because they want to channel Biggie. If they put on a Coogee sweater, they feel like they're channeling the 90s and they channeling in particular Biggie. So for me to be able to say I'm working with a brand that sort of indirectly is with Big, and then I work with Tupac, and I work with Nas. So I work with some, and for me, it's like visualizing it. I work with some good guys there, and that are made some noise in the hip hop industry. So I just find ways to sort of jump onto the next thing that doesn't require a lot of FaceTime, more creativity,
Right.
and finding opportunities like where there is none. Like, so right now I did also a brand called Low Lives, which was all these polo guys that would collect polo all over the world. They have chapters everywhere. Like, there's Low Lives Australia, Low Lives Puerto Rico, Low Lives Philly, Low Lives France, and this is this group that collects vintage polo. So I created a brand called Low Life, and they love it. So it's like, right, it's not my,
Wow.
it's not. I share it with the founders, but it was more like, hey guys, we have a way of creating business within our culture here. Let's do this,
Right.
So you just find ways to be creative, and the next thing,
That's what's up.
Exactly. So Tamara, go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, yeah, I don't really know how to say this one. I mean, you are famous, I guess. It acts like
infamous.
for me, I always ask people that come on the show, like, at what moment did you know that you had made it? Like, when did you were like, man, this is it? Like, I really, it could be you haven't achieved it yet, but at what moment? Like, did somebody you didn't know even knew your name, and you were like, damn, like, these people know who I am. Like, I've achieved what I want. Like, I always ask, when did you know you were famous?
Yeah,
When did you know?
I never. That wasn't a set out goal, right? That was a byproduct of me doing what I love.
Right.
So I remember being in Vegas one time, and I was with a young lady. She was asking me. I mean, I knew the young lady, right? She knew me from before, but it was odd to see her reaction because she knew me from before. It's just like Earl. I was telling Latifah, a good friend. It's when you see your good friends around you that was with you before you had any kind of degree of awareness in a space that you're working in, their reaction, so I was with a young lady, and then 2 or 3 girls came and sort of bumped her out and said, can I get your autograph? And I was like, and she was like, what just happened? I'm like, yeah, no, it's weird. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, it's weird. Like, and I know it's not real, and I can now know what actors go through. Like, to maintain a degree of fame is gotta be like mind blowing for them. Like, they gotta stay in the news. Like, I don't. That's not. I was like, I don't. If that's what it is, that's really intense. Yeah, I don't. But you'd be. I used to have TV commercials, right? So I would be walking on the street, and I'm just I didn't spend money on anything extravagant. Like, Damon John would spend money on cars. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't want to be low key, right? So the FUBU guys would be extravagant. I don't drink and I don't smoke, so I'm not in the club, right? So I was low key. But it's when you're traveling alone, or someone says, hey, what's up, Will? They talking to you like they know you. It's like, oh, this is weird. So, that type of stuff. And it's really from my intimate friends. Like, my son will see me on that. Something will come on TV, and I'm in it. And they're like, it just bugs them. And I see how they work. But I was like, that's just the same Will that's there. That's me. That was just a moment in time, guys. So it's like,
nice.
That's how things. It's all perception, right? So I know how. Let's say I would think I was in a movie. I was in a documentary just came out. It was on CNN or something. So I get, the phone lights up or whatever, and they look at you different. This is like, but I remember you go through motions. People ask you to be in a documentary. It can be big, it could be small. I take every interview the same, but some of them become bigger than what you're expecting. So if you take the time out and try to educate people to what you're saying, that's the key. That's the key. So if it's like you want me to sit in one thing, I was in state property. My son loves it, right? State property with I don't know, some sort of drug thing, right? So I was in that, and stuff like that. They bug out. My kids bug out because it's like, I didn't know you were doing that. You don't smoke, you don't drink. I was like, that's just a quick acting thing. I was working. They called me I went down the block. So it's moments like that you understand what actors go through and those famous folks. But I well-rooted in understanding what I'm doing in fashion is, in particular, young man's fashion is a young man's sport. My time has come. I did my thing, but I'm still behind the scenes doing things,
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to speak with two regular people. Two regular trying to make things happen in this social distancing era.
Yeah, right.
We appreciate
you guys do. We good. We do it. We doing it, making things happen. trying to shine a light on folks with this whole vinyl conversation show. Just take minds off things. Yep. But with that said, you're behind the scenes. What are you doing now? What are you currently working on so everybody can know? Because you got Drop TV, right?
Yeah, Drop TV is a tech play that I'm involved in. It's really revolutionary, and my son, as I was doing all my projects, my son decided to get into fashion, but in footwear, around 2013. I was about to start another project, and he hits me with, I want to go to footwear school. And I'm like, son, I don't know nobody in footwear, so. And I was a little bit traumatized because I was like, I can get you in the FIT, I think, right? And I'm assuming it ain't going to be fashion what he wants to do. And it's your son, it's your child. So you're like, I felt very, very stressed out. Like I didn't have an answer for him. But I had to take a few steps back and say, oh, this is an opportunity for me to grow. Like, so I don't know I don't know footwear that well. So why don't you show me what you're doing currently in the space of footwear. I'm going to call all my friends. I'm not a bad guy, so they'll probably come help. So those two things are in the middle, we got to learn. So I'm like, I took it as an opportunity to learn footwear. So 2013, 2014, I put my project on hold and then started focusing on what do you want to do with footwear? I want to be a footwear designer, great. Remember, he went to FIT, he went to St. Benedict's after me. By that time, the school's well known for basketball. So because I went to St. Benedict's prep, and by the time he gets to ready to go to high school, he's like, I'm going to go to St. Benedict's because that means I'm going to be an NBA player. I'm like, no, that's not how that works. That's not how it works. You got to be good. There's a whole nother type of player that goes there. So when he got there, he understood, like, yeah, I'm not them, but I can design sneakers for them. So I said, that's like, I like that. So I got in head first saying, I'm going to find out about footwear. So I started calling all my friends. We went to sneaker shows. We did a platform called Sneaker Beast. As an exercise, we did a deck, a business plan. We came up with an idea. Within a month of him telling me, I went to study his, what the background was in footwear. I wasn't really into footwear, but I saw it was huge business. And I was like, and I'm not closed-minded. Like, I can learn from my son wanting to do this. And that's what happened. Go into footwear, find out. I raised about $250,000 for his project, which was a huge exercise in being able to go into a footwear college in Pasadena called Art Center and be able to say you all have your own footwear platform. You did this with it. And by the time we started it, he sort of kicked it off, and then he had to go to college. So it was a platform that you bought, sold, used sneakers, big business today. And then we added music into it. We had a whole bunch of fun with it. And then as he left, he did this, but he was amazed that I was able to really raise $250,000 for his project. And my business partners didn't think it was my son's project. I pitched it to them like a real project. Like, we're going to do this. And he witnessed all that. He saw the pitch. And I walked out with, we have a deal. And he's like, what do you mean? It's like, you got your own sneaker platform. Now you're going to go into school. You're going to be able to pop your collar at school and say, I go check this out, And that was cool. So it allowed me to go into footwear. My business partners at the time acquired a brand called Etonic, and they really wanted me to work with them on that. I only did that if I can revive Coogee at the time. That's 2014. 2014, my son's in school. I'll revive Coogee. I'll work on footwear. And Coogee, I did a collaboration with Rag & Bone, a couple of big guys, and started to learn a lot more about footwear. And I learned that again, another space that is totally white. It's totally white. It's like 3% of us work in that business, but 98% of the business comes from us.
We wear shoes.
Right.
Well, Jordan,
That
it's like,
part.
you understand? It's like, that's all off. So then I find, that I'm enlightened by a gentleman by the name of Dwayne Edwards of Pensole, who worked with Jordan, worked with Nike, and saw that there was an imbalance. So he started teaching kids of our color how to design. Because he'd go into design rooms and it'd be all white folks. Nothing wrong with that. But it's got to, if you can't design to us.
If you don't know, if you're not us.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And you're making the most money off of us.
We're
killing ourselves for it. And now it's become a money-making situation. So I understood, like, this is, I just jumped onto a different type of lily pad. I'm like, footwear. I'm like,
nice.
So Etonic was the oldest footwear brand. I didn't own it. Whenever I do something, I like to own stuff or be part of it. So I couldn't get a piece of Etonic, so I went and acquired a brand called Jaclar, Jaclar. That started in the 70s. It was defunct. Yeah. It was gone. I went and acquired the mark. But the key thing there, it was owned by sort of, I always say it's reverse gentrification. So you know how our neighborhoods get decrepit. White folks come in, dust it off, fix it up, kick everybody out, charge higher prices, right? Well, this happened in reverse. White company, Franklin Sports, left the brand for dead. I know my history in fashion and in footwear. I knew the brands because I wanted a pair of those shoes in the 70s. I acquired it. I'm dusting it off. And it's now only, probably, I will challenge anyone, only minority heritage owned brand out there. Everything else is not us.
Wow.
Nike, Adidas, Puma, Under Armour, Brooks, Asics. Nothing is ours. No.
New Balance?
No. Oh no, that's Trump supporters. We're not.
New Balance sounds like. I'm sorry. It sounds
like. All of them were in Boston, including my brand, Jaclar. But my brand was owned by another company, and they were using it to get into, sell sports stores more products, from tennis to tennis rackets to footwear. So
wait, so even British Knights.
British, it's all
it's in the name.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, British Nights is not a fun. It's not like an athletic thing. It's like a fashion thing, right?
Right.
But all of them, none. I did my research. None of them are owned by us. Only thing is Michael Jordan, right? And those Jordan sneakers, right? So I started this 2017, 2018, and I've been building it up slowly. That's my main
So
focus,
basically,
right?
we're gonna see your shoes in the store. So can we get
Yeah, you're gonna see this,
like,
and you'll know.
Just mail me one. And
Yeah, you'll see it in the store, and it's.
We'll sponsor. Can you sponsor us? Like we'll put it on the show.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find my own lily pad right here. Like you sponsor us. We'll put the shoes on the show. I'll wear them every episode. I'll put my feet in the camera. Like she laughing. So
that goal right there is to set up something so when I'm ready to retire, my son, I'm telling my son, do your time at Nike. Learn. I'm gonna build this up. When you're ready to move on, take over, I'll just walk away. But he'll have something he can call his own.
That's awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing them shoes in the store for real.
Oh, they out now. I'm getting a lot of great press, and people remember them. That's the great thing. Like people remember, like, oh look, they're back. That type of thing. And then Drop TV is the other big thing, which is tech. Which is I never was into tech because nothing really allured me. But this is revolutionary tech. Nice. This is like if we were broadcasting on the platform, this hat, you can touch the screen and it will take you to the website where this hat is from. It identifies everything on the screen.
Wow.
In real time. So that pink shirt, you tap it and it'll say it's from, H&M or Zara or whoever, and then
it's Echo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you can touch it and you can drive sales. So let's say you have you build up and you have your audience. Today you're gonna be wearing this, and then now you can go to that. You can go to them, ask for sponsorship, and say, hey, I'm gonna be wearing this. Do you want me to drive sales towards your website? What? So anything live on TV. So streaming. Think about streaming on Netflix. We're working right now on a historical doc that covers fashion from beginning to present day. And everything on there will be shoppable moments. Dapper Dan moments. You'll have you'll have sneaker moments on there. You'll have Little Kim moments. That you'll have these product moments where you can. I remember she wore that dress. Click on your TV and buy it. Not go to the website, So it's pretty wild in that sense.
That's dope.
Yeah. That's Drop TV.
Man.
So everybody's listening, go to drop.tv, 2piece, DROP .tv, and play around with the app and you'll see.
That's cool. We appreciate you coming out. Like I said, taking the time. And I was serious about that sponsorship. She might not have been serious.
No, I got you guys.
No, for real. But thank you for taking the time out and adding to our list of great people that we had on the show.
My pleasure. Sorry.
Yeah, because you definitely dropped. You dropped a lot of jewels that a lot of people didn't realize and know.
Yeah.
Because especially how clothing and the music and all that's connected.
It is. Go look for that Gap. Look at that LL Gap commercial. That's a moment in time right there.
Yeah, we'll repost that.
Yeah, do that.
So before we head out, give us all your social media handles, like the ones that you're on.
Yeah, so you have my handle, Willie _Esco. You have Jaclar, it's JACLAR Athletics. You have at Coogee Brand, COOGI Brand. You have at Low Life Brand, all one word. At Drop TV, drop.tv. Well, that's the website, but Drop TV. That's about it. That's what I'm working on.
We'll post all those in the chat. Yeah. So again, thank you, Willie, for coming on the show today. We appreciate you.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you.
All
We'll
right.
see all your stuff soon.
Take care, folks.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks. All right. Man, he's in there dropping jewels.
Man, for real. Right down to the shoe line. Like, wow, so we just buying them shit and they don't even know us. Like, oh, I got one black friend and I make tennis shoes. Anyway.
Look, that part. But you see how everything kind of like came full circle as far as like social media. So he was putting the lines in the videos, and now everything is on social media. So
Listen, that's he really did drop some knowledge. I want to say thanks to everybody that's watching or that's gonna watch later or whatever you're gonna do. As always, we appreciate y'all. And what else I'm about to say?
look, that part.
Still, I'm always gonna put that cash app out there if y'all want to, again, send your girls to lunch. I'm like that. Like it's always there. Vinyl Conversations. Like, share, repeat, follow us, do all of that good stuff, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, we'll see you on Sunday. Next Sunday we got the legendary Chris Washington coming on. Howard University's own.
Sunday at 1:00. Come on in for some
So you
more.
see that? You talking about dropping some jewels? Chris gonna drop some jewels. So we see y'all next Sunday.
Bye, guys.
All right, peace.